Hey everybody, welcome to Techforpsych. I'm Dr. Cody Rall. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the Focus Calm Headband by BrainCo, and I couldn't think of a better way of doing it than interviewing the president of the company, Max Newlon. We really take a look at how the product design of the Focus Calm Headband, both the hardware and software, is designed around a simple three-step process that they came up with to get you into flow state. This video has a lot of information that I wasn't able to put into the review video of Focus Calm, simply in the interest of not making that video too long. So Max and I spend a lot of time talking about previous products that they've had, what they've learned through trial and error, and how they were able to incorporate that into the product design of Focus Calm. We also take a deep dive into how they collected data in order to compare your brain data to the optimal state of what someone's brain data should look like if they're in flow state. We also covered some exciting research projects that they are involved in right now and some future projects that they have in mind that you could actually get involved with if you reach out to the company. So I hope you enjoy. Please leave questions and comments below, and thanks for watching. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. I've got Max Newlon, president of BrainCo, the company that makes Focus Calm, with me. Max, thanks so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
So I'd appreciate if you told us a bit about your background and how you actually became president of BrainCo. It sounds like a really interesting story, and I know that there was some work done at the Harvard Innovation Lab to eventually create the device. So I'd love to hear the background.
Yeah, of course. So growing up, I was really interested in martial arts and meditation. Started doing practices like that when I was about 6 years old. So when it was time to go to college, I figured I wanted a major that kind of was an aggregate of my interests. So I ended up studying cognitive science at the University of Connecticut and learned about philosophy and psychology, anthropology, sociology, linguistics, AI, kind of the study of systems. How do systems work? How do people work? How do cultures work? How do languages work? And this was like perfect for me. It was really broad. It was multidisciplinary. And through my studies, I was personally continuing to explore different types of meditation practices, things like this. And eventually, after I graduated, I ended up working in a fMRI lab doing research on meditation. So how does meditation affect the brain, the structure and the function of the brain? How does doing these trainings change the brain? And how does it help people improve their lives? So that was one job I had. At the same time, I was working in another research lab, and we were investigating neurotechnology and its implications for people with Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders. So we were studying the impact of deep brain stimulation surgery, so invasive BMI, kind of like what Elon Musk's Neuralink company is doing. So implanting electrodes into the brain and stimulating different structures in the brain to help with those symptoms. So I had this kind of neurotech and this meditation and neuroscience background and my personal interest. Did that for a few years, and then ended up going back to school at Harvard to study human development and psychology. Again, you might start seeing a pattern here, right? How do people evolve over time? I was really interested in, especially adults. What are the stages of growth people go through, and what perspective shifts and, I guess, advantages come with those perspective shifts? So I was really interested in how people develop. After Harvard, I had planned on going into leadership development and realized it was probably a good idea to get some leadership experience myself before I went and did that. And I had this job offer from this really interesting company called BrainCo. I wasn't exactly sure what they were going to do or what the plan was. It was like this ragtag team of 15 people in this little office in Somerville. But I joined and as a research scientist to help them set up their first studies, set up their first neurofeedback training algorithms. And since then we've grown quite a bit. And now I serve as president for the U.S. operations, where we develop products like Focus Calm.
Had they had their first device out by the time that you joined, or was it before that even?
Yeah, so it's still before that. So we were testing different algorithms. We were testing different hardware configurations. Our first device was really focused on collecting research data in group settings. So we had this really cool innovation where our headband was using Wi-Fi to connect really high quality EEG signals in a really simple way. So what that means is we could be in a group setting of 20, 50, 100 people, and we could stream data from this large group of people all to one computer. So it ended up being really good for different types of research settings. We did research all around the world. But when it was time to think about a consumer application, we redesigned everything for that particular purpose. And that's the headband we have now with Focus Calm.
Yeah. What do you think that you learned from the first device that you were able to package into the Focus Calm?
So the lessons were really around fit. And this is true for so many things in life. It becomes particularly apparent in startups and companies. You need the design of the product to really fit the use case, right? It seems obvious, but it becomes really clear when that's not true. So our first device was great at doing all these types of research. We published papers with MIT. We did research studies with partner organizations on thousands and thousands of people. And then we tried to apply that same hardware for a consumer setting, but using Wi-Fi for a consumer use case is not a good fit. So, we learned the lesson of make sure that as much as you can, everything is aligned for the outcome that you want. And it seems obvious, but, in the moment, that's certainly a lesson that we learned. So again, with Focus Calm, we really thought about, okay, what does the setup need to be like? What does the headband need to do? And that's why we designed it to be really easy and simple to use. We use Bluetooth now, so that's way easier to connect for a consumer setting. So the lesson was certainly, make sure that you have everything aligned as much as possible, from the hardware to the content, et cetera.
Yeah, the ease of use I've noticed is really part of its strength. It's really easy to throw on. It's even easier to throw on than, I'd say, Muse, and certainly the emotive headbands. And that's another question I wanted to ask you is, at this point, there's quite a few EEG wearables for people to choose from. And how do people differentiate? What is Focus Calm, the strengths of Focus Calm, and who would benefit from purchasing one and using it?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is something that we're talking about right now, which is ease of use. So you can turn it on, open your app, and within about 5 or 10 seconds be using the product as it's intended, which is to train your brain. So super easy to use, super easy to get set up. We designed the user interface, again, to be really intuitive. This is not a research product like our last product. This is a consumer product that's really simple to get set up. You can, start using it immediately. And the big picture is that Focus Calm is a platform that helps people train different mental skills for better focus and a calmer mind. So even when we think about the content, we've designed it for very specific purposes. So in the product, we have programs which are designed to get specific outcomes, like get ready to go to sleep, wind down after a long day of work, get ready to perform either at work or in sports. And within those programs, we have guided meditations, which are pretty common now, but certainly one of the cornerstones of our product. And then we layer on neurofeedback games, something you might see in like Mindlift, for example, right? We have those style neurofeedback games. And then we also have these executive function games, which target things like your memory, sustained attention, decision-making, et cetera, plus a bunch of other really cool tools to help people explore their brains so they can do their own meditations, they can track their brain waves and experiment. And so in the spirit of trying to capture who our users are, that's why we designed the product as it is. And our users tend to be biohackers, so people who want to experiment. They tend to be people who have some sort of wellness practice. Maybe it's meditation, and they want to explore more about what's going on in their brain or find new ways to train for better wellness. And we also have people who are trying to address a specific problem. So let's say I have a really high stress job and I want an easy to use tool to help me reduce that stress. And then finally, and this kind of gets back to the genesis of the product, are our elite performers. So we work with a lot of Formula One race car drivers. We work with a lot of Olympic level athletes or elite level athletes, professional sports teams. And those are the type of people who are trying to gain a mental edge. I think there's an awakening happening in the Western world where people are understanding how important this is and how much benefit you can get from training your mind in any way, whether that's meditation or a yoga practice or focused calm. There's so much benefit to be gained by learning to train your mind. And so we designed this kind of all-in-one platform that helps you train your mind in a variety of ways so you can learn what works best for you. And also you're getting all these great analytics so you can see how you're progressing over time.
Yeah, you mentioned it as an all-in-one platform. That's really how I see you guys standing out, is there's this whole package and this philosophy behind it. And we've talked a little bit before about a 3-step process behind that, the learn, strengthen, challenge. Could you dive into that a little bit for us?
Absolutely. So learn, strengthen, challenge, the inspiration behind that came out of the work that we're doing with Formula Medicine, which is this incredible organization. They do the medicals as well as the cognitive training and physical training for a lot of F1, F2, F3, F4 drivers, all different types of elite level athletes. And we were looking at how they're training these elite level drivers, and we saw a pattern, which was teaching people how to enter a state of calm or relax their mind, a place where you feel at ease and relaxed, and then learning to apply that. So a lot of products or methods are really good at teaching people how to relax their mind when they're at home and they're sitting on the cushion, so to speak. All right, they're doing their meditation, and that's fantastic. So I meditate every day. Meditation and focus calm are not they're not mutually exclusive. So meditation is great, and that's kind of where focus calm starts. That's where we teach people how to relax their minds. Then we take the training wheels off and we have them strengthen that ability to enter that calm state or flex that mental muscle so that ability gets stronger. And we do that with our calm neurofeedback games. So imagine, and you may see this in the app, we have these games where you make a rocket ship fly by entering that mental state of calm or relaxation. So every time you do that, you're strengthening that connection with that part of your mind, and you're able to improve your ability to relax, or make a campfire grow, or you can help a city wake up and help the sun rise in the horizon as you relax your mind. So that's strengthen, get better at entering that state that you just learned about from the meditation teacher or the sports psychologist or the wellness coach, depending on what you're trying to achieve. So learn how to relax your mind, strengthen, and then it gets really interesting in the third step. So the third step is challenge. So the world is chaotic. The world is crazy. It's messy, as we all know. Work can be stressful. Life can be stressful. How do we transfer those skills? How do we help people learn to stay calm under pressure when it matters most? When you're giving that big presentation, when you're performing at some sports competition, or just when life starts to get a bit busier than is comfortable. How do you transfer those skills? So in challenge, we present people with these different cognitive challenges that are based on these scientific measurements of cognitive abilities, of executive functions. And these games are designed to get your mind going. But in order to get a high score, you have to simultaneously perform well at the game and remain calm. So what is that doing? That's training you to be on, to apply your mental abilities while simultaneously staying still on the inside. And in this way, we're able to help people transfer those skills. And that series of training is almost exactly what the Formula One drivers are doing. In their case, they need it because they're driving 200 miles an hour and they need to stay calm under pressure so they can perform their best and not mentally burn out. And so our insight was, well, that probably applies to a lot more people.
Yeah, there's a term that's used all the time in mainstream, flow state. And I get asked all the time on YouTube about flow state. Would you say that this is a part of flow state, or how would that relate to what Focus Calm is doing for people?
Sure. So my limited understanding of flow state, I won't claim to be an expert here, is when the challenge or the difficulty and your ability are in this sweet spot where you're kind of on the edge of your competency. So you're being challenged just enough. It's not too overwhelming and it's not too boring. And in some of the games, Cave Quest in particular, it's my favorite game. It really reliably gets me into that flow state because you're being challenged just enough to steer the rocket ship with your finger. You're flying the rocket ship on your phone. And then you're also powering the jet engines with your mind by calming your mind down. And this kind of dichotomy of needing to focus and make decisions to steer the ship out of the way of the obstacles, which requires your focus, as well as needing to practice staying calm and still, the calm side, that almost always gets me into the flow state. And that's one of the outcomes that we're looking for. How can we help people achieve their best, perform their best, while still staying calm inside? And that has, I would say, it's almost identical to what we might call the flow state.
Yeah, it's great because I get asked on the YouTube all the time, which would be best for flow state training or high performance training. And up till now, I didn't have as great of an answer of what people should purchase. So it's nice that Focus Calm fills that niche. And I think that you guys did an incredible job of identifying that niche and, optimizing for it. I think another thing that people might notice on the Focus Calm, we talked about the simplicity of design. And it is interesting to me that you guys focused on forehead sensors, 3 forehead sensors. Was there a philosophy behind the simplicity of that instead of trying to get like an auxiliary electrode on top of someone's head or behind the ears, like some of the other ones?
Yeah, certainly. Again, in line with our philosophy of ease of use, and matching that with the utility that we're going for. So what are we trying to measure? We're trying to measure how calm and focused someone is. With 3 sensors on the forehead and our algorithm, which we can talk about, and the quality of our sensors, which we can also talk about, we're able to achieve that. So if, think about it this way. I want the simplest way for people to achieve the goal that they're setting out to accomplish. And if I can get that done with 3 sensors, which we can, then that's going to simplify things. It's going to reduce, possible things going wrong, et cetera. So with the 3 sensors, we're able to capture the cognitive state that we're really interested in and help people improve that. And if we can do that in a simple way, simple, easy to use way, then, heck yeah, we're going to go for it.
Great. And we've talked a little bit about the research that you guys did with the first device. And I know you guys did some almost crowdsourcing of EEG data to create how the software interacts with an individual when they actually use the device. Could you talk about the data that the company collected and how that is compared to the data that's collected during someone's individual session and how that results in scores that they get?
Yeah, certainly. This is a really cool innovation or space that we're playing in to make an impact in how the product functions. So when you put Focus Calm on, you get your Focus Calm score, 0 to 100. A really high score means your mind looks really at ease and calm, almost meditative. And a really low score means your mind looks really active. Your gears are turning. It's not necessarily bad. It just means that your mind looks really active. And if you stay in that state for too long, you're probably stressed too. So we're giving you this real-time score, and we help you improve your score, improve that state of calm. And in fact, like we were talking about, improve that state of calm even when life gets a little wild. So that's how the Focus Calm score is presented in the app. For people who are interested in the more technical perspective, what's going on in the background is we're looking at your raw EEG signal. So we don't look at alpha, beta, theta, delta, gamma, et cetera. We're not looking at frequency bands. In fact, when you use frequency bands in an algorithm, they're really robust. There's a lot of good research behind them. And they're a simple way or a quick snapshot way to understand what's going on. And there's a ton of utility. For us, though, we think we found a better way. So I can explain it like this. Let's say the algorithm we were using, like the NASA engagement algorithm, it's looking at beta power divided by alpha plus theta power, really widely used, really well validated. We use that in one of our one of the studies we published with MIT. We got these amazing results on how that algorithm can enhance all different types of outcomes. But let's say in that algorithm, you're using 3 features: the power of beta, the power of alpha, and the power of theta. And you're doing a little arithmetic to find out the relationship, but you're using 3 features. With our algorithm, and when you use Focus Calm, we're looking at the raw EEG signal and looking at over 1,000 features. So, 300 or 400 times more per second. And then comparing all of those features to our AI algorithm. Okay, what is our AI algorithm? Our AI algorithm is kind of like a special signature that we're looking for. And when your brain matches that signature, your score goes really high. And when your brain matches the signature for stress or really high activity, your score goes down. And how do we build those signatures? Well, we had about 100 people of differing ages and backgrounds and genders do a bunch of tasks. We had them do really relaxing tasks, really meditative tasks. And we asked ourselves, what are the raw EEG features when someone is in this state? And that helps us create the signature. And then we had them do a bunch of high stress, high cognitive workload tasks. What's the signature when people are in this state? And now we have this, we have the machine learning tell us what features are most important. So we're not kind of imposing, okay, you should be looking at alpha, you should be looking at beta. We actually let the data tell us what is the true state or the true nature of these cognitive states. And that's what's in the app. And when you use Focus Calm, that's what's powering your score. Does my brain truly look like it's at ease? Does my brain truly look like it's stressed or in an active state based on all this data we collected? And what the machine learning is teaching us are the important features to look for.
I'm still trying to understand big data and machine learning a little bit, as I'm sure everybody is. But, one thought that occurred to me is you mentioned that, you let the machine learning AI kind of determine what characteristics of the signals were important. But when you classify the data sets, are there like certain individuals that performed really well and you classify that as like, this is a high performer, and then it parses it out from there?
Yeah. So we also take into consideration their subjective experience. So we'll either, ask them, use some scale to measure the depth of their meditation, or in some of our algorithms, we're using meditation experts with differing levels of experience. And what we found was some of that data is really useful, but some of the states that these meditators are going into, like, don't map on to what a normal consumer is ever going to experience. So like the upper limit of the score, like no one could get above 80 with the meditation algorithm unless you were a meditation expert, which is like kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, we're taking into consideration subjective focus or subjective relaxation when we classify the data and then tell the machine, okay, this is what we found. You tell us what you found.
But also the score of like how well they do on the executive function and memory tests, that type of thing too.
So the performance isn't as important as the the felt cognitive workload. So if someone performs really well, it doesn't mean that they were in a higher state of cognitive workload. They could just be incredible at performing at that task. And so what we're really trying to capture at that, lower end of the score is how much cognitive workload, how much felt mental stress or mental effort is going on there. And we want people when they're in that state of really high felt cognitive workload for their score to be low.
It's really exciting. And as you guys roll out the Focus Calm, are there other research projects that you guys are engaged in? Are you collecting data and any things that you're most excited about for the future with the company?
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. So and maybe I get too excited about this, but my background's in research. I worked in these research labs. A lot of the core team has a research background. So we're like always cranking out studies. So the ones that we just finished a study with a company looking at how Focus Calm can improve workplace wellness. and we got these incredible results. So we found that people who complete 20 sessions with Focus Calm, each session is 15 minutes. So after a few weeks, they saw on average a 25% increase in their well-being, according to the World Health Organization Well-Being Index. They saw a 13% reduction in their anxiety, and we used the measure called the state trait anxiety inventory, really widely used anxiety inventory or measurement. And they also saw a 22% drop in their burnout. And we used the Copenhagen burnout inventory for both personal burnout and work-related burnout. And so we just got these results a couple of weeks ago. Those validates a study we did before with another company looking at workplace wellness. We think there's a huge opportunity in workplace wellness to help people. And we also have a study wrapping up soon looking at teachers. Can we help teachers reduce their stress? We know teachers deserve this help and are quite stressed out right now. So we're looking at a study there. We're doing a study with some students to see if we can help them reduce their test anxiety and things like this. And then we are partnering with a yet to be announced Olympic team, US Olympic team, to see how Focus Calm can improve performance and well-being in these really elite level athletes. And then we have some other things that are going on the research space, but we're always thinking about, how can we validate this? How can we really show that, our special combination is what's driving this change?
Well, it's really exciting because I think on the surface level, it looks like such a simple device, but I'm sure people will really appreciate hearing you explain the background and how much research and work went into it. So I really thank you for coming on Techforpsych to explain it. And I hope the rollout goes well for you guys.
Oh, we really appreciate it. Cody, I think what you're doing is incredible. And, we'd love to have your audience try out Focus Calm. And so in the spirit of that, if they go to www.focuscalm.com and use the promo code Cody when they check out, everyone will get $25 off their order. So Focus Calm is $199 for the headset, and then we have some subscriptions, or you can go all in and get the lifetime subscription and headband for $299. And like I said, if you use Cody at checkout, you'll get $25 off. We have some really cool new features rolling out soon. And so I hope that people take advantage of that promo code and join the Focus Calm community.
Very cool. I'm sure there's going to be some high performers that are looking to enhance the ability of their brain to focus under stressful conditions that will be interested.
Great.